Good afternoon, everybody. Very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for having selected this breakout session. I hope you will enjoy it as much as me. Now, from a pure practical perspective, it seems that we have had some complaints about the sound. So if you have your device, your microphone, headset at least, there is a volume knob, volume button on the left of the device, so you can increase the volume if needed. My name is Henk Destoop. Henk Destoop, I am responsible within Proximus for what we call solution sales. Solution sales are basically what we generally refer to as technical sales. Now, within Proximus Next, we really specialize in delivering, implementing, managing complex, diverse ecosystems. Ecosystems consisting out of many components. We have the products, we have the platforms, we have the applications, and we have quite a number of different services, managed services, be it in integration to make it all work together, implementation services, you name it. Now today we really aim to show you that we can help you, that we can assist you in developing, in tweaking your customer experience strategy. And therefore, we have two of our esteemed partners on stage who will be focusing on just that, delivering an excellent customer experience. Together they join forces to make sure that we can deliver an empathic customer experience. You all know that a empathic customer experience is key. It's key as it is a competitive differentiator, and it's key because our customers demand of it, your customers require it, so it's really vital that we can do that. In this session, Bart and Thomas will explain in more detail some tips and tricks on what we can do and some pitfalls that we need to avoid. And what I liked especially in the presentation is a use case, a hybrid use case, where we really look into partially automation, seamlessly together with a human interaction, making really that empathic customer experience a real thing. Having said this, I give the word to Bart and Thomas, who will...
Thank you. Henk. Thank you very much, Henk, for this warm introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining in on this session. To start off with, I want to do a bit of an imagination exercise. I want you to think back on a recent customer service interaction that you have had that actually didn't go the way you wanted. We're thinking in the lines of maybe you had to wait a very long time in the queue. Maybe you spoke to a chatbot. That chatbot didn't understand what you were saying. Maybe the phone line disconnected. These are typical challenges we see. Now, in having done that imagination exercise, what feeling does that give you? How did you feel in that moment as a customer?
So indeed, that's right, Thomas. So if you are not fed up with those bad experiences yourself, why should you give those experiences to your customer? So if you're interested in how to prevent that, then you're actually in the right session. Because in this session, we're going to tell you how empathy in customer experiences can help you avoiding those experiences. I'm Bart Eyer, I'm Empathy Advisor with Genesys, where we provide you experiences as a service.
Thanks so much, Bart. And I'm Thomas van Durme. I'm the co-founder of Orion Intelligence. And together we're standing not here as two organizations, but in fact as three organizations, with the third one being Proximus. And all of these three organizations have something in common, and that is the focus on making customer experience truly effortless. And when we say effortless, the word empathy is not far away, and that's indeed what we want to talk about, giving you some practical lessons today.
So I'll probably kick in some open doors, but I think it's good to have a refresh on the challenges that we have today, because customer empathy is under pressure. Why is it under pressure? For different reasons. The first reason is the amount of agents. In order to find them and to retain them, it's not the easiest task to do that. But additionally to that, we also have the increased amount of interactions, the increased amount of questions. Why is this increasing? Well, it's actually for a good reason, because people are more able to speak up. Hence, you get more questions. Another less good reason is that people want instant gratification. They are, otherwise said, very impatient. They would like to have an answer immediately, making that you double or triple sometimes the interactions for one and the same question, which is something that we don't want to do. Additionally to that, not only the amount of question is increasing, also, of course, the complexity of the questions is increasing. Complexity because we have more advanced products, we have more advanced processes, and everything becomes more complex. Due to that complexity, the average handling time for an agent or the talk time from an agent is, instead of a few seconds, towards a half a minute to a minute. So that's longer, because that, additionally with the previous challenge, is adding up to each other. Because if you don't find the right agents, and you need to do more interactions with the same resources, but the interactions also become longer, that's giving a lot of challenges. Then the last part is basically the wrong expectation about chat and chatbots. Not because that technology is bad, that certainly is not bad, but if you have 10 interactions, only 2 of them are using chat and chatbots in order to interact with you. Another one might go through email, and even another one might go through SMS. That still leaves us with 6 out of 10 interactions who are going through the telephony system, who are going through to the voice, making sure that voice is still one of the most preferred and important channels to do so. So in order to overcome those challenges, well, we have to bring empathy. As Henk already said, empathy is no longer a nice to have, but actually it is now becoming a competitive differentiator and advantage for your company. But let's take a little bit further to what empathy exactly is. So empathy, what is it? Empathy, it's a human behavior. It's not a technology, so that's very important to know on that one. Empathy is truly understanding your customer. It's like being in their shoes. It's the human touch in our communication. In order to do so, what do we have to do? We have to listen to understand, not listen to react. Because if we listen to react, we will be biased with assumptions from our inside-out thinking and giving wrong answers. Could be like, for instance, a chatbot who starts off like, "How can I help you today?" You ask the question, and then he replies, "Well, I can only help you with A and B," not with the actual question you ask, because that has been constructed mostly with an inside-out thinking. Another element where you have to be very careful for is that there's a difference with the empathy in understanding your customer and agreeing to your customer. It's very normal to understand if somebody got a bill which is twice as high as normally, that he will not be that pleased. But that doesn't mean that you need to agree that that high bill is a correct one. So once more, empathy, it's a human behavior, it's not a technology. But it is with technologies like Orion and Genesys where we're able to advise and provide the correct information to the advisors, that they are able to have an informed discussion and an empathy in their discussions. Of course, Thomas will now give some, besides of the tier, some actual examples where it could go wrong and where it could go right.
Yes, thanks so much, Bart. I think it's very important to put this into practice. How do we effectively do that? By looking at the things that went wrong in the past, I think we can learn a lot. So you joined this session here also today for some practical guidance. And so what do we see today still very, very often in the domain of customer service is the use of FAQs. FAQs are frequently asked questions and their answers. And I will let you in on a little secret. Customers rarely read FAQs, unfortunately. Organizations had hoped it would be different, but why is this effectively happening? Why are they not engaging with the FAQs? let's bring it back to empathy. So FAQs are basically a very long list of potential problems with their answers that you're pushing towards your customers. That is not, basically you're saying, okay, just figure it out for yourself. Here's the full list. That is one of the reasons why customers don't really engage with those long lists. Another reason is customers also have a limited attention span. So they will engage with maybe top 5, more practically top 3 type of answers. And that's very important to take into account, because we know that a lot of effort has gone into writing FAQ articles. That knowledge is very valuable, but can be used differently. Let's jump into another example. And this is the example Bart spoke of earlier. We've seen in the realm of chatbots, the first and second generation of chatbots is now past, but still many organizations rely upon them. And behind me is an example. We've removed the brand name on what are some lessons that can be learned. And so, having engaged with this chatbot, what will happen? He will say, okay, hello, we're ready for you. Here are our contact options. And then it says, okay, but yeah, our phone lines are closed. And so this chatbot is exactly the thing that we want to avoid if we reflect with empathy. Because we're basically creating a loop for customers. This is really, if you think back to the example at the very beginning of this session, the bad example of customer service is very, very often the creation of loops that will annoy customers. People saying, okay, but you have to go to administrative desk 1, and then at administrative desk 1, they will refer you elsewhere. And this is something that is highly annoying for customers. And so those were some examples in terms of how not to do things. How can we effectively improve things? And this is an inspiration session. We want to leave an inspiration. Is the use of technology for hybrid conversations. And so we spoken of the channel of telephony. We know that this remains the #1 channel where customers will reach out to you. What can we do to improve this channel technology-wise without losing focus on empathy? And I will share a brief video on how a hybrid voice conversation in Dutch, because Dutch is a difficult language for AI, how that could look like. Here we go. Is it playing?
Welkom bij onze klantenservice. Ik ben Orion, jouw digitale assistent. Ik zal proberen je te helpen. Kan je mij vertellen wat je vraag is?
Kingelen?
There's no audio. So indeed, I'll give a voiceover on the conversation here. So basically, I myself am saying, okay, there's a.
15.
Okay, thank you.
39780.
Kan je me in het kader van deze vraag over je factuur ook even je factuurnummer bezorgen?
Ik heb dat hier bij mij, dat is 2023 77 650.
Bedankt voor al die informatie. Ik kan je initiële vraag niet meteen beantwoorden en ga je nu doorschakelen met een van mijn collega's. Blijf even aan de lijn. Ik verbind je nu door met een van mijn collega's.
Alexander van de klantendienst facturatie. Ik heb uw vraag al eens bekeken ondertussen en onmiddellijk uw factuur en klantgegevens erbij genomen. Ik zie eigenlijk dat u een verkeerd abonnement werd toegekend, waarvoor onze excuses. Ik ga dit onmiddellijk rechtzetten en eigenlijk al een creditnota opmaken. U krijgt daar via mail eigenlijk onmiddellijk een bevestiging van.
So I hope you had at least a little bit of the audio coming through. I understood the beginning part, perhaps not. But how does this actually help? First and for all, you saw it is in Dutch because it's not a complex language, but a language which is at least Flemish, a language which is not always that much used in those voice bots. But you saw Thomas telling the different numbers with dashes and etc. in between, but still recognizing and validating that. Remember that empathy, it's listening to understand, not listening to react. So due to the voice bot, we were able to listen to understand. Because we were able to listen to understand, we didn't have to have to repeat the questions again. Due to that, we had less talk time for the agent. Remember again the challenge we had, difficulty in finding agents, looking for efficiency to bring. Well, if you're able to correctly listen to understand with the correct technology, then you have less talk time and then your agent can have a meaningful discussion on that one. Secondly, already on the screen, so indeed, also the need to repeat yourself, it's the number one frustration from customers. In this case, they don't need to repeat themselves. Don't forget, it's equally annoying for your agents. They don't want to ask those annoying questions neither. They would like to have a meaningful discussion with your customer. And then the most important part, we always think like the holy grail is within chat and chatbots, but no, we also have this in voice bots. So the telephony are still able to bring the same efficiency, making sure that you can have also meaningful discussions over there. Now, Thomas, what can we do? I first have a question, like people might think like, well, it might be interesting for me as well, but how do I start there? What would be a first step? Can you guide a little bit around that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we firmly believe, both at Genesys, at Orion, and at Proximus, that we have to take it step by step. Don't introduce mega projects. Have a very clearly defined use case in front of you. And here we've shown the case of voice. It can be that your organization operates at a different channel. Let's say that maybe for your organization, email is the preferred choice. For sure, let's focus on email. But the clue here is don't make projects too big, and certainly test your own flows. And we certainly want to end with that, because coming back to the beginning of the session, this is all about empathy. And we see so many organizations that roll out technology, but without actually going through flows themselves. And that is so crucial for technology today. And in English, they have a saying, and maybe the quote to end with, they say, eat your own dog food. And eat your own dog food, I really believe that many organizations should do that. Be your own customer. If you are a utility organization, sure, be a customer with your own utility organization and go through those flows. Thanks very much for the attention from both our three companies. We have at our booths live demos for you. We had a bit of trouble with the audio in the beginning, but we firmly believe that live demo are the things to go with. And so please invite you to check it out at these respective booths. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you all for your attention.
Proximus next. Think possible.